on our
That was the
document.
news.
So we have. Do you have any more Octopath 2 thoughts? You talked a decent amount about it last time during the review part.
Yeah, I did. I guess I can go real quick,
Okay.
and that is that um this some of the stories I've finished 2 of the stories so far, and I'm on the last chapter in the other 6. Um,
Okay.
and some of the stories have continued to be very good, and I would say one in particular kind of just like fell off a cliff in the mid game, in my
Okay.
opinion, where I just like. And it's not that the content of the story wasn't interesting, but man, the villains are just terrible in this story. They're so bad.
I mean,
They are
look,
so bad.
look. If you're hitting 7 for 8, I think you're still doing a good job.
Well, Chet's story is another one where it's just like it's kind of it's just kind of boring, to be honest. There's just not a lot to it.
Okay.
Um,
So 6 for
and
8.
then Agnia's story, who's the dancer, I think I mentioned, like, it's fun and it's heartwarming, but not particularly interesting. And the villain in that one, who they not revealed because they had hinted at it before, but they more revealed in the second to last chapter, is also, it's not as bad as Hikari's story, which is the one where I hate the villains,
Yeah.
but she wasn't very good either as a villain, in my opinion.
Okay.
So, you know, they're not hitting on all of them, but the rest are good and interesting. And Oswald's second to last chapter, where you finally encounter the villain of that story as well, was really good, in my opinion. Throne has some really good moments in the, she has the split paths, but
Yep.
Throne's is quite good. Temenos is interesting. Partitio's is fun and interesting as well. So yeah, the stories on the whole are, I would still say, is better than the first one, but I just wanted to mention that there were a couple of stories, in my opinion, well, one in particular, that had a good intro, and I was always like, man, the main villain of this story I don't really like. He was just kind of, he's just the freaking emperor. It's just like, execute order 66. Like he's like I'm gonna take over the world, but then I'm gonna murder all my citizens. It's like, okay, I guess
That
this
doesn't
doesn't make
sound very
sense.
good. This sounds really stupid, but okay. Usually, if you have somebody who's like, "I'm going to take over the world," they're going to be a bit smarter about saying, "But I need followers." You need followers for that. You single-handedly, unless you're like Goku, can't do that.
Yeah.
So like,
So
that doesn't
it
make
just
sense. Like,
didn't
I'm going to
make
kill
and
all my
I mean,
citizens.
he was just a generic, evil villain. He didn't really have a good motivation. It was just like, yeah, he wants to conquer the world, and anyone who stands against him gets murdered. It's like, okay.
Usually, people conquer the world for a reason. I don't know. It's weird to just say like, "I want to conquer the world." Why? Because I can. Usually,
Because
there's
I
a
can.
reason. Usually,
Because
there's a
power,
reason.
because I love
Because I
being
want to be
powerful, and
rich,
yeah.
or I want to be respected, or I find all other people's inferior to only me and my followers, like the supremacy idea.
I think
Or
it's probably that more than anything, the supremacy thing. It's
yeah,
like strength should, the powerful should rule the weak type thing. It's like,
yeah,
okay, yeah.
and that doesn't really do it unless they have like more to that. Like I hate to pull this one out of my ass. What's his name? The chairman from Gundam Seed Destiny. He
Durandal.
Yeah, Durandal just actually, I think he also is one of those, is like, I just think coordinators are better kind of ones. He's got his Destiny gun.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, coordinators are just better. So I'm gonna Destiny gun everybody else. Like, oh, okay. But Yeah, usually just saying like I want to conquer the world because being powerful is cool doesn't really do much. Usually there's a better
Yeah.
reason than that.
Yeah, it's just like he goes. Yeah, that story is just again the villain. He like the main villain is bad, but then some of the other villains in the story are like they just don't. It just doesn't make sense to me. Like one of the people in the story that is following the main villain is like a friend of Hikari's, and to me his reasons for joining the bad guy team just don't make any sense at all. I just don't I was just like, yeah, this doesn't make any sense.
It happens.
So
It's unfortunate. You
yeah,
got a
it's
lot
just
of
strange
stories
to
to
me
try
that,
and get in, but
I know it's just strange to me. The writing is just a bit uneven. Like it seems like different people wrote the different stories because Oswald and Thrones are like really good and really dark, and then Hikari's is just kind of bad, and then Ochet's is just boring.
that's probably what they did.
Um,
They probably had like
yeah,
separate writers do each story. They're like, okay, you do this one, you do this one, you do this one. Maybe to try and get it so that it was supposed to be a diversified story set. Like, don't have the
maybe.
same person do all of them. They're like, okay, well, how can we? Well, let's diversify the writers to each person. And look, a writer messed up. Okay, they didn't get you. Writer messed up, and another writer just didn't have enough. But 6 other writers seem to have done a good job. So
Yeah, that's fair.
I think 6 out of 8 is still pretty damn good.
Yeah,
I do think that's pretty damn good
it is.
for that.
And it's better than the first game because
Mm.
there was like only two or three in the first game that I thought were really good, and the rest were either meh or I didn't care too
Or you
much.
just didn't care,
So
yeah. So
yeah,
I mean, like, hey, vast improvement. That's what you're looking for, improvement. So
yeah. Hikari's story was just really disappointing because it had a really good start and it just fell off a
just
freaking
fell apart.
cliff.
Yeah,
It's like
big oof. Okay.
so.
I don't know
That
any other stuff besides the
no,
stories.
it's no. I mean, the gameplay is still the
About the same.
gameplay.
Yeah.
It's fun. You
Okay.
know.
Got it.
Um, there is a bit of grinding to be had in the mid game to like catch up to the levels, and as I mentioned last week, my main character so Oswald is level. He's in the low 60s, and everybody else is like 47, 48. So
Okay. Yeah, that's definitely a problem they should have fixed, but okay. Definitely annoying to have to grind too. The is it too much grinding? Is the question. I mean,
I
like,
don't think
okay,
I don't think it's too bad. And
yeah,
there are like the fourth thief skill makes it so you get a lot of extra EXP and JP. But you have to fight at night, but that's fine. Like as long as you fight at night, you get a bunch of extra EXP and JP, and you can actually grind up pretty quickly with that. So
yeah, sure,
I think it's better than the first game in terms of the grinding.
okay,
It's easier to grind up, and you don't have to try to spam the bewildering grace, the dancer skill that it existed in the first game. I don't remember, but it gave you like it just gave you like random effects when you
yeah,
use it. And in the first game you could get like 10x EXP or 10x JP or something like that, and you know people tried to use that to grind, and you don't need to do that in this game.
yeah,
So
good, that's good. Okay,
yep, I
and
think that's about
then
it.
we just talked about Paradox, but I see you put like Age of Wonders down here. What did you want to add to that, if anything? You mentioned
um
the people had some time with it.
yeah, I don't know. It was kind of like a question mark. I don't know if you were interested in, you know, talking about the game a little bit more and like learning more about it and going into I put a link for like their news articles. They have a bunch of dev diaries that we could theoretically look at, but there's a lot of them.
There's a lot of
So
them. Okay.
there's like 8 of them. So
Okay.
yeah.
I mean, like, I'd love to go over it next week
Okay.
while since I'm going to be sitting on a recliner for a whole day. I'm not kidding. After surgery, they told me I can't do anything. They're just like, nope. They
Yeah.
specifically said you can't schedule anything, you can't do anything, don't work, just sit. I was like, okay, sounds good. Um, I mean, like the thing is, we have so much time too. We have like it's only 11. Normally
Yep.
we take up a lot more time.
Well, do you want to talk about Diablo first since
Yeah,
that's coming up?
let's talk about Diablo, and then I'm racking my brain here. I might have like a couple things to touch on, but like, yeah, let's just talk about Diablo. I'd rather talk about Diablo. So Diablo's early access to open beta, which I just want to point out, I hate saying that. Hate saying that. Starts March 17th at
9 a.m.
9 a.m.
Pacific
Pacific
time.
time. Yep, 9 a.m.
Yep.
Pacific time. So Pacific time folks can jump right in at 9 a.m. You wake up bright and early, stretch out, get a hearty breakfast, and immediately boot up being a sorcerer or whatever.
Well, what you mean is you immediately boot up and then don't get in because there's a queue or the servers
Yeah, so
crash or
here's the
whatever
first question mark.
whatever nonsense is going to happen on the first day, which always happens.
Yep,
So
so
if
first
it
question
doesn't,
mark.
I will be very surprised.
First question mark is how long do we think we'll have to wait to get in? My suspicion tells me um the worst case scenario for Blizzard is they get the servers get full really fast, and then they have to somehow go talk to Jeff Bezos and say, "Look, we need emergency servers." Jeff rubs his hands, goes, "Finally, I can fly to Mars," and that's what happens. They have to go get like
Have
emergency
I
servers.
got a deal for you? Premium price for your
Premium
emergency
price.
servers.
You're under an emergency. We're here for you. We're here to screw you over. Um, that's the worst case scenario. But I think what'll happen is there'll be a queue. Guaranteed, there'll be a queue. You'll probably wait. I want to say 30 minutes is going to be what I'm hoping for. I don't know how bad it's going to be because it's an early access to open beta, and an early
Yep.
access to open beta means somebody had to pre-order the $90 edition. Correct?
No, you only had to pre-order the 70. You had to
Oh,
pre-order any edition and you get beta. The $90 edition is if you want 4 days of early access to the real game when that
right.
comes out.
That's what I thought. I thought it was
You,
a mix
you have
up
to
on that.
buy either the 90 or the $100
Right.
edition to get that.
I
This
forgot.
one is
I mixed that
this
up.
one is any pre-order. If you pre-order the standard edition, you still get
Right.
this.
I mixed that up. Okay, so scratch that. You're probably gonna wait an hour in queue. And then if you're lucky, it'll probably be 30 minutes. If you're not, like if you don't jump on at 9, it's an hour. Anytime after 9 for that entire first day, it's an hour in queue. That's what I expect. The whole day. On Saturday and Sunday, I expect it'll improve because Blizzard will have a whole day to consider how much extra server space we need. They'll do a patch of some kind, a hot fix, where they've talked to Bezos and got the servers, and then there'll be more space for the early access period. That's what's going to happen. For the actual open beta, it'll be worse.
Yeah.
But hopefully by then they'll have figured out, okay, we need like this much extra server space to handle everybody having access. But I think I would say like 30 minutes is a good best case scenario. 30-minute queue.
That's best case scenario.
Yeah, I think that's best case. I think hour is what we're gonna see.
No, I honestly think best case scenario is there's no issues at all and everybody logs in and there's no problems. I think that case is very, very unlikely.
Oh, you're
but,
optimistic. I love it. I love how
but that is
optimistic you're being.
that is the best case scenario. That is the best case scenario. Is there is no problems at all. Again, I think it's highly, highly unlikely. But
I just completely disregarded that as a case
you
because
just
I don't think it's
disregard
gonna
that as a
happen because
case
I don't think there's
completely.
any chance you're just gonna be able to jump right in. I don't think there's any chance. That being said, I'd be more than happy to see you jump on at 9 a.m. No problems whatsoever. But my best case scenario is 30 minutes of queue.
Yeah, it's fine. I mean, I've got nothing but time next weekend, so
I don't. So, well, Friday at least. Friday is a little bit different for me. I don't know how I'll feel post surgery. We'll see. Okay, so that's one thing is how long will it take to get in day one? I think Saturday and Sunday they'll have opened up more server space. They'll have more server space.
Mm-hmm.
We've already talked about what we're playing.
Yep.
you can get to level 25. You have access to this open area to start the first area for the prologue and first act. I have like a really interesting set of questions. My first question is, I think it just has to do with how much variety you can do with each character. So, to be clear, if I am playing as a barbarian, I haven't looked at the skill trees yet for barbarian, or if they're even available. I'm sure somebody's found them.
There is a skill calculator online.
Yeah,
that
somebody's already done it by now.
If you want to pull up, we could theoretically pull up.
But I'd be curious to see how many different builds per character Blizzard has theorized on their own. Because for Diablo 2, I'm not picking Diablo 3 on purpose. For Diablo 2, usually there's like a couple builds per character, and there's always the most optimal one for doing certain things. I'd be very curious. I think if each character has like three optimal builds, I feel like that would be amazing. 3 different like actual optimal builds. That would be amazing. Because barbarian, well, I know for certain characters there was like, okay, you could do Bone Spear Necromancer, you could do a Summoner Necro, although that's not great. You have to leverage Corpse Explosion pretty heavily for that. For Sork, Ice, I mean, like, you had Ice Sorks.
Frozen Orb.
Frozen Orb.
Was definitely the meta of Diablo 2.
Frozen Orb is usually what we saw. For Sork, for the highest tier, you just see Frozen Orb. For Amazon was interesting. Amazon was always interesting for me. There's Javelin Amazons, and I've seen one that leverages frozen arrows. You're not necessarily amazing against mobs, but you're really good at slowing down big enemies. That's an interesting one. I mean, like, I'm just pointing out, like, if we can be able to like jump on and leverage maybe 2 to 3 optimal interesting builds, that's what I would be looking for this game.
Yeah, like, I would say at least 3 for each character. Like,
yeah.
For me, for Sork as an example, I would hope there's at least a viable Frost, Lightning, and Fire build.
Yes.
For Sork. And then probably, let's say quote-unquote best case scenario, there's some optimal, like, multi-element builds as well, like, Fire Lightning, Ice Lightning, and then a all 3 element, like, kind of Master of Elements build as well. But that's maybe a little optimistic.
Yeah, because before it just felt like, well, Diablo 2 is like, okay, Frozen Orb. You see a lot of Frozen Orbs. I don't know how much else really I saw. I don't even think I ever saw a lightning-based sword in Diablo 2 Resurrected. Usually I would see Frozen Orbs.
I mean, yeah, Frozen Orbs just kind of busted in D2. Like, build diversity in D2 to me was kind of bad. Like, there were very few optimal builds in that game. Like,
depending on your character. Yeah.
There was kind of like one thing for every class that was the best thing. And I didn't play all that much of D2. I don't know that much about D2, but my impression from D2 is that pretty much every class had one optimal build, and if you wanted to play optimal, that's the build you do, that's pretty boring in my opinion.
You could do other things, but they didn't seem as good as, like, you could be other paladins, but you could also just be hammer paladin, and you're just better. And same thing with Sork. Like, you could do other Sorks, but Frozen Orb just is better. Just feels better.
So the way the skills work in D4, this is kind of like D3 in a sense, but not really. But every class has 6 types of skills.
Okay.
So and every class also has 3 types that are, like, at least they're called the same thing, and they serves a similar purpose. You have basic, core, and ultimate skills on all 5 classes.
Okay.
Basic are your, they don't cost any resource. They're usually used to generate resource. When you use them, they're your basic skills.
Yep.
Core are generally going to be your, I would say, main damage skill for your build. So like for Sork, for example, Frozen Orb, and this will probably be your right click skill.
Yep.
Frozen Orb for that. For Sork, you have Frozen Orb, Ice Guards, Chain Lightning, Charged Bolts, Incinerate, and Fireball. So 6 options, 2 for each element.
Right.
And then every class also usually has 2 or 3 ultimate skills. And again, for Sork, there's 1 Ice, 1 Fire, and 1 Lightning.
Yeah. Makes sense.
And then Sork has defensive, mastery, and conjuration as their like 3 unique. I guess more than one class probably has. Usually each class has like a defensive type skill or equivalent to that.
Yeah. Of course, certain classes need to have some damage mitigation / reflex abilities. Like Amazon had a lot of dodging abilities that they just get passively when you take them, which everybody took, obviously, because why wouldn't you? Things like that. Yeah, makes sense.
And then every class, once you get, I guess you don't need to be level 30, but once you have 30 skill points, you get what they call, I don't know what they're called in game, but at least on the current skill tree, they're called a capstone, capstone skill, and you can only pick one of them. And for Sork, there's 6 of them. There's 2 for each element. So,
okay, I could see how that might lead to some diversity in your character with that having like, with 6 capstones. I don't know if every class will have 6. I mean, 6 makes a lot of sense for Sork. I'm wondering if that's going to be. I guess that would probably be the case for every class. They would have 6, 2 for each. 3.
Barbarian has 4.
Oh, 4. Okay. What are you looking at, by the way? Put the link in Twitch. Put it in the Twitch chat for me.
This one will take you to the Barb one specifically.
Yeah, that's fine.
But you can switch the class.
Oh, somebody got it on GitHub. Let's go. All right, here we go. That is not the right page, Twitch. Thanks a lot. Thanks, Twitch. Oh, God, I love you. Love how you do this stuff.
Love it, OBS. Okay. So Barbarian. Oh, wow, they have all of them. Okay. I'm clicking it. Oh, jeez. Oh, my. What is up here?
Yeah, the top part is the Paragon boards, which is the progression system after level 50. So we're not going to see that. We're not going to see that in the beta. That's the end game progression system.
Brawling, weapon mastery, defensive, core, basic. Oh, jeez. Kick, leap. Oh, there's leap, charge. Death blow. This is interesting. Warcry, there it is. Warcry?
Yep.
There's my main Warcry. Let me try and zoom in a little bit. There's Warcry. Kind of hard to see still.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, and you can just switch from here. Perfect. And then there's Sork. Firebolt, Arclash, Spark, Frostbolt, sure. Conjuration. You can get Hydra.
Yeah.
Mastery, Hydra. Ultimate, Capstone, Shatter, Icefall. Okay, I'm just looking at some of these. Sword.
Yeah. So I like, this morning I made like a level 50 Sork. So it looks like at the end you're gonna have, I think it's 65 skill points to play with. Because you get 1 for each level up to level 50, and then you can get 15 additional skill points from Renown as well.
Okay.
And it seems like after level 50, you're not going to get any more regular skill points. That's when you start earning Paragon points, and you earn 4 Paragon points every level, 1 every quarter level, basically, after level 50. You get a
Gotcha.
Paragon point up to 100. So,
Light. Sever. I'm looking at some of these. Oh, there's Bone Spear. Let's go.
yeah, I mean, the things that you expect for each class are there. Like Necro has Corpse Explosion and Bone Spear, and kind of the classic skills that people love from the old games.
Oh, Corpse Explosion is gross. Heals increased damage to enemies that are slow. God.
So yeah, and like each skill, as you can see, like the usable skills you can level them up to 5 times, and at least in this skill calculator, it doesn't show what the upgrades do, so we don't
Right.
know exactly that. And then each skill has 2 upgrades. Basically, there's one upgrade after the skill, and then a split, which is an either or. You can't pick both of like
Right.
the split upgrades for each skill. And then there's not every tree has passives, but there's also passives on a bunch of the trees. The circles.
Yeah.
Um,
Interesting. I'm actually not seeing the summoned skeleton on here.
oh,
which is
scroll to the right.
Oh, there it is. Book of the Dead. Got it. Skeleton Warriors.
So yeah, this is
Mages, Golem.
that's like, and every class has like a unique class mechanic.
Yep.
That's the one for the Necromancer. Like the summons are for like they're for free. You get them. Again, I don't know how often you summon them or exactly how it works because we haven't really seen the Necromancer in action yet. But it looks like you get to pick from like one of 3 options and then some upgrades for each one. And there's also the right side of each of those columns, which is Sacrifice, I think.
Yep.
Which is like you don't summon those minions, but it gives your character a buff. So you can go like a full summoning build, or you could go like I don't summon any minions, but you get a bunch of buffs from not summoning your minions.
Right.
Basically.
Makes sense. Okay, that's
And
cool.
there's definitely upgrades for the summoning, like within the skill tree on some of the passives and some of the skills and stuff like that. So.
I did see that, yep. Then we have Druid. Oh, Spirit Boons. Let's go, dear. Oh man, look at all these. Okay. There's a lot here. Look at that tornado. Yep, you get Spirit. Defensive. Companion. Okay, so we still have companions.
Yeah, companions exist for Druid as well.
Yeah. Very cool. Okay. What is Barbarians? Oh, God, there it is. Codex of Power, there it is.
Oh, Codex of Power is for everybody. Those are like your legendary aspects.
Oh, Barb didn't have one of those.
Barbarians is the arsenal system where you can carry 4 weapons, 2 one-handed weapons and 2 two-handed weapons.
Okay, got it.
So. Yeah, I figured it would be something like that. Okay.
And then Sorks is, I think they call it enchantment or something like that.
Yep.
Where every skill has both an active effect and a passive effect. I think you can put 3 skills in your enchantment slots, and those, like, they do different things. In obviously the active slot you have to cast it, but something I was looking for, like for Meteor, for example, enchantment effect, every time an enemy takes burning damage, there's a 3% chance a meteor falls on them.
I see.
So you don't even have to cast it. There's just a chance that meteors just fall from the frickin' sky without you casting it. Like there's a bunch of those for the fire skills, like for Sork, which I was looking at, like Firewall. Direct damage has up, again, as an enchantment, direct damage is up to a 15% chance to spawn a firewall for 3 seconds.
I see.
And same with Hydra, like burning damage has chance to spawn a Hydra. So, or when burning enemy is killed, a Hydra head spawns from its corpse for 3 seconds. So.
Oh, you choose one of these 2. Got it. I'm looking at these tree ones. So the tree ones, you only choose one. You don't pick both. You choose one.
Yeah, you can only pick one.
Interesting. Okay, got it. I'm just like looking through this. It's very interesting to see all this like this.
Okay. I'll have to play around with this sometime. There's definitely a lot to look through.
Yeah.
To see like how this works. I love the idea of whirlwind though. Just spin to win.
Oh yeah, of course.
Spin to win is just seems so fun.
Another classic barbarian skill.
Classic spin to win. Let's go. So anyway, I know you're playing Sork, so I know what you're doing. I'm doing barbarian because I know somebody else that's doing. I know Ghost is gonna do.
Ghost
Rogue?
is doing rogue. I mean, yeah, Diablo is not a game where like you need
You don't need everybody to be
class
the same.
diversity. Like play what you know. If I mean, it seems like you're fine with playing barb, but play
I'm
what you
totally-
want.
I'm
If you
totally
if you
fine.
want to play rogue as well, then just play rogue. Like
I'm totally fine with it. Like barbarian, I've looked at some of the video barbarian. Barbarian looks super fun. Like looks super fun. I'm very interested in playing it. And like I know I'll have time to try other classes later. My big ones I want to do are, barbarian this one, but I do want to play necromancer at the open beta period. That is not the early access open beta. I do want to play necromancer because I freaking love having my little minions around me. But barbarian seems super fun. Be curious to see how Bone Spear is too. Bone Spear was really fun to use in Diablo 2, so I'd be very curious about that one. But outside of that, yeah, I'm looking forward to what we will get in Diablo 4. I'm glad that we'll have some weekends to play it, and then it releases. What was it, May or is it June?
June
Yeah, June.
6th.
Yeah,
June 6th, I think.
So we'll get some really good first impressions before next podcast on Diablo 4. I'm just really interested to see the armor come in with those changes, with those defensive changes, where you get like if you have 100 armor, you get 50 magic. What is it? 50 magic resist or armor, something like that. And seeing how all that plays out. World bosses are interesting too to me.
Yeah.
World bosses seem really fun.
I just side comment. I'm looking through the druid skill tree right now, and they have a skill called rabies.
Just rabies?
Yeah,
Wow.
rabies.
Okay. Just rabies.
Shift into a werewolf and perform an infectious bite on the target, dealing damage and an additional 55.65% damage over 6 seconds. Infected enemies spread rabies to other surrounding targets. God damn it.
Wow. So you don't change into a werewolf completely. You change into it briefly, attack them, and then change back?
In this game, though, the transformations aren't like a skill that you click and you just transform. Certain skills just make you transform into certain things. So when you use a skill that makes you transform into a werewolf or a werebear, you just transform into it for that skill. And if you use a different skill that requires a different form, then you just shift into that form and use that skill.
Which is fine.
So you're going to be shifting in and out of forms like a lot more.
Right. As opposed to you shift in the form and you just stay in that form forever. Kind of idea, which is what happened in Diablo 2. You just stay in that form. Which is fine. But yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to this game. I don't really have anything else to say. I'm looking forward to trying it out, looking up what people have come up with after the first day. Seeing it in action. Leaping and spinning to win. Leap, spin to win. That's the play. You leap and spin to win immediately.
Yep.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Should be exciting. It'll be a nice fun change of pace. So, do you have any other Diablo 4 comments as you look through your?
No, I don't think so. I think, yeah, I think we'll just have to wait to get it and see what we think once we play the game.
Yep, should be fun. Okay, so I'm trying to think of some other things I wanted to touch on, and well, the first thing is, I know I was gonna mention stuff on Twitter. I just want to point out I really dislike the new Twitter experience. I told you about this before. When you're on mobile, I feel like, and I counted this, so It's more than a feeling. Every 4 tweets, there's an ad. I really despise when companies make their subscription offer more valuable because they make the current offering more shitty. I really despise when that happens. And it does happen occasionally. Where they're like, oh, well, since nobody's going to buy Twitter Blue, we better just shove more ads into your face. It's like, well,
Yep.
yeah, of course it becomes more valuable. You made your service shittier on purpose so that this thing looks shinier. I hate that. I hate Twitter right now because of that. It pisses me off that they do that. But, you know, Elon needs to pay off the debt. So, more ads. What else? I've been playing this game recently with some people called Don't Starve Together. It's been out for a while, actually.
Yeah.
That game's pretty fun. It's like I don't know, we'll just call it, it's a survival game. Okay. There's really not much to it, to be honest. So far at the beginning. You just try and survive. That's really it. You have it's a survival game. But it's fun, it's enjoyable. Fortnite has a new season, so try to hold back your excitement, please. I know how excited you are right now. Look at how thrilled you are to hear that. You were thrilled.
I'm very excited.
You're thrilled to hear that there was a new season that dropped yesterday. New season dropped yesterday. I mean that game is still trucking along. Shoot, what else? Was I gonna mention anything else really? Not really. To be honest. I mean, I'm still doing Fire Emblem every so often.
Yep.
That game is still... I don't know how to put it in words. The only thing I can say is what we've already said. I love getting into battle. I hate everything else that isn't the battle. I'm really starting to hate everything else that isn't the battle because it just feels so goddamn tedious. That's where I'm at with that game. So.
Yeah, it's yeah, I mean I don't know if you want to talk about it again, but I've given my thoughts in great detail
No.
in previous podcasts. It's the story is
It's so
quite
just...
terrible. The
Yeah.
Somniel is quite terrible.
We don't need to... Yeah.
The gameplay is very, very fun,
It's
but
so good. But
just about
man,
everything else is not very good. to be
everything else is
honest.
not very good, but the gameplay is really fun, so that's where I'm at. I'm like, oh man, this is fun. Still doing Pokemon raids. Yeah, those are still a thing, by the way. You can still get new Pokemon in raids. The next Pokemon that's coming up in a Pokemon raid is Decidueye. So that's the next one. They still do those raids. It's like they still have the event raids. I'm kind of amazed that they're not trying to push for the DLC to come out sooner. All that is coming in from this game is raid content for Pokemon. I'm a little surprised that they haven't tried to push the DLC in the summer, to be honest. I don't know. Apparently there was a bug in Pokemon recently.
Oh, yeah.
That you could lose save data.
I heard about that.
What an awesome feature. Thanks, Game Freak. Good shit, Game Freak.
Well made game.
Good job, Game Freak. Actually people losing save data. Good stuff. Good stuff. You love to see that kind of thing. Love that testing period. Yeah, because the game wasn't broken enough. We get to lose our save data. I'd be... oh, man. Imagine how furious you'd be if you were actually, trying to be competitive in that game. Oh, man. I'd be freaking... ah, man. I'd be so angry. I don't know. I'm scraping the barrel, but, I don't know. I just don't have much else from my perspective, Spoon.
Yeah, I mean, again, the only other thing I had was we could go over Age of Wonders 4 stuff, but we can also save that for another time if you prefer.
I mean, I haven't read any of it, so you're welcome to speak on it. I'll just be listening. That's where I'm at. Or I could read it this week and we could talk about it next week. That's the That's my thought on this. But yeah, I mean, if you want to chat about it, please go ahead.
Trying to think. I mean, I don't know. I think I'd rather you have something to say about it than me just blathering on.
Okay. Fair enough. Okay, well then, honestly, if that's the case, I'll take a look at it this week. Like I said, I'll have only me sitting on a recliner for a whole day is kind of the idea. So I'll have somebody bring a computer to me so I can read for like an hour and digest. But yeah, this week is going to be an interesting week for me. So yeah, I have nothing else to point out. I haven't really been doing anything else. Just like hanging out, doing other stuff besides games all the time. So
Yeah, I mean, same. I've been playing. I mean, I've been playing Octopath mostly, and studying obviously. So
yeah, okay.
you know,
Well, I mean, we can call it early then. I guess if we have nothing else to really add into this, we can call it here, and then wait to chat again next week, where we'll get to see me in a. I don't know how much of a cast I'll be in. I forgot if you're in like a full leg cast or not. I totally forgot. I might just be in a boot cast. I don't remember.
mm-hmm.
But I'll get to. Sorry, there's like a really weird noise outside. So yeah, so I'll just be chilling like Wednesday night and Thursday in my boot cast. But I'm excited for Friday. I'll try and jump on with you guys, but we'll see how work turns out. But I'm excited to jump in with you guys on Friday. So, okay.
Yeah, no, we'll definitely hopefully be able to play a decent bit of Diablo on Friday and talk about it on Saturday. And
For sure.
yeah, if you have time to read through some of the dev diaries and stuff for Age of Wonders, and there's some gameplay to watch, some streams and gameplay to watch as well if you're interested.
Yeah, sure.
Look at that.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, just once I'm in my recliner for my whole day, I'll be just sitting. That's what it was last time. I sat in a recliner a whole day last time. That's basically what you have to do. Because you're just sore. So, okay, let's pause here then a little bit early and oh, thanks, Try. And then we'll chat about Age of Wonders next week because I'll have that opportunity to actually read the dev stuff, and we'll have some news to talk about. Obviously, we'll have Diablo 4 to talk about. Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Last note, wanted to add, I do think that let me see the schedule. I don't know if I mentioned this before, but I do think I can do podcast on the 25th. I think before I talked about, like, very briefly, I was taking this little trip. I do still think I can do podcast on the 25th. So I don't know if I mentioned I might be like iffy on that one, but I should be good. So I don't think I have any plans to miss a podcast for the rest of the month. But
I guess I should mention then, I am going to see Megan between the 31st and the 9th. So
oh wow, whole week. Okay.
That is potentially 2 podcasts we're missing unless we want to maybe reschedule the week of the 9th to the 9th instead of the 8th. The 8th is a Saturday, 9th is a Sunday.
Yeah, I mean, no, I have no problem with that. With that.
We'll probably miss April 1st with
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, that's fine. That's totally fine. So we'll talk about that more next week and the week after that for sure. Just to confirm that we'll do a Sunday instead of Saturday. So, cool. Good heads up on that. Okay, let's call it here. Spoon, we'll get videos up this week. Spoon will handle most of the work for that. And we'll talk about Diablo 4 and Age of Wonders next week for sure. We'll allot a good period of time for that. So, thanks everyone for stopping by. And we'll see y'all next week.